So Jen, I'll go ahead and
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, and good afternoon, everyone. Eric and I are really excited to be here today to really announce and share with you all that we are updating our marketing co-op program in 26 to better support you all. We've received feedback and made some improvements that we will share today. All right, so first and foremost, we have simplified our proof of purchase and payment process. So previously, we have required a full bank statement or credit card statement, and that is no longer necessary. So we no longer require that full bank or credit card statement. Screenshots are acceptable if they show each of the following. We need the account holder name, the account number, check if check is used, and then the marketing or the matching transaction amount for the reimbursement request. We do recommend to use credit card when possible, but understand that some vendors do not, they will not take credit card. So in those cases, a check is required, but if you pay by credit card, that is by far the simplest way. It only requires that the statement details in that vendor invoice. Okay, another one we're really excited to announce. Again, received feedback from you all and have learned throughout the year. And event tickets, we are allowing for 2026, 6 tickets per event. Previously, to be co-op eligible, we required 10, so we have lowered that to 6. And of course, you need to continue to follow the Code of Ethical Business Conduct and gifting limits. That still applies. All right. And the third one, we are now allowing co-op for non-Country Store branded items. So Country Store is our default vendor, but we understand that some of you like to work with your local vendors, and some of those folks offer different Chopskis that maybe the Country Store didn't have. So those will be eligible for co-op. We will have a process where a marketing proof will be required for approval. All right, the next one is agency naming. So we will have the ability in Country Brand Builder where you can use the personalized logo option with a drop down for your agency name. Today, I believe that's a free-form field. So going forward, we'll make it simple for you all to use the drop down for compliant agent naming options with the personalized logo. Okay, and gift basket. So this one's very timely with the holidays just right around the corner. We are now offering new branded gift baskets as well as a do-it-yourself kit where you can kind of package your own gift basket. And those items are co-op eligible packaging items. You can use local items to put in the kit. Those would not be co-op eligible, but the packaging in the store is. And again, you need to follow the gifting limits that are in your state. Okay. And finally, I'm really excited to announce that we're going to have some additional options for purchase leads. So some new offerings that are coming right around the corner in November. We will be offering auto and home form transfer leads. So a few of our vendors will have those services available to you. We're also really excited to announce we're going to have some new life lead options available. And then today, our Sales Genie leads are only available at the district leader level. In 26, that will be opened up at the rep level. So you all will have access to commercial leads, as well as consumer needs, for other lines of business as well. And just a reminder, the sales solicitation policy did change earlier this year and now permits the use of non-corporate purchase lead vendors. And just to remind you all, still need to follow the sales solicitation policy and all the scrubbing requirements. And those vendors, we do ask that you try them out, if that's something that's of interest of you, but they are not co-op eligible. We do have a process, a form that you can complete if you have success with those vendors, and you can make us aware and we'll look to add them to the program. Okay, so just to show some examples. So first we've got the pre-assembled gift basket, and this actually was made available last week in the country store. So you can go out there today. We have a couple options. One that's a little bit larger, and then a snack basket. And you can have these shipped either directly to your office or a designated delivery address. And those prices there are before co-op. And then we've got the do-it-yourself gift basket. So this will be coming soon in just a couple weeks. And this is all the branded kit that you'll need to create that kind of your own basket with some local items. Okay, and then just to go over, again, the purchase lead vendors and new offerings. So you can see there, the ones with the star are new offerings with some of our existing vendors that we'll have available later in November. So all web leads, they're a purchase lead aggregator, as well as EverQuote and QuoteWizard. They will be adding some form transfer options, and then QuoteWizard will have some life leads available. And all the prices that are listed there are before co-op. And then Sales Genie, our commercial lead vendor, again, this will be made available at the rep level. So you all will have access and will no longer have to go through your district leader to get those leads. And then I just wanted to call out again, we are actively exploring additional direct mail vendors, financial lead vendors, as well as additional life leads for 26. So stay tuned. And the sales solicitation. So again, you can utilize purchase lead vendors that best fit your business goals. Scrubbing is still required in using Navigator before you reach out to those leads, but they're not co-op eligible. So if you do have success, please submit the new vendor request form, and we'll take those new opportunities into consideration into our program. And one final note, because the end of year is quickly upon us here, but the 2025 co-op reimbursements must be submitted by December 10th. By end of day or 4 p.m. Central Time to ensure that those are applied to the 2025 budgets. So the deadline for co-op reimbursements is December 10th. And then if you have any questions, I did just want to call out the marketing field support team is here to support you all with your marketing questions. So just wanted to share with you our marketing field support team. They are aligned by each market, so you can see who your representative is. All righty, I'm handing it back over to Ryan.
Excellent. Thank you so much for those updates. And Jen, you got some great reactions coming from the reps and some of their team members. And so thanks for those reactions. That's a great way to provide us feedback during these sessions. Jen, we do have several questions that have come through. I'm going to start with Jeff Maxons. Jeff is asking when it comes to that reimbursement documentation. I know you mentioned the credit cards, but he's asking, can we use Venmo or similar?
Yes, you absolutely can. It's just a screenshot that is needed of that transaction. So as long as it has the account name, the information, the account number listed there, a screenshot should suffice.
Jared, Deal has a question when it comes to the agency naming update that you mentioned, Jen. Can you provide an example of that personalized logo?
Yes, so the personalized logo is really the logo with the lines of business. And then the agency name would really be, for instance, if it was John Smith, we would have a few options in the drop down. So you could list that as the John Smith Agency. I think like John Smith Agency, there's a few different options to choose from and how you want your name represented with that logo.
Next question coming from John Rossi. Visa gift cards for referrals. Can we co-opt these again?
No, Visa gift cards for referrals. Unfortunately, that is a program we encourage. That you think the folks that are providing you those referrals, but that's not a marketing, really a marketing expense. That's more of a business expense.
We have a question from Jason Percha. Have you given any thought to allowing for transportation expenses? So we rent a party bus for our COIs for a particular event, previously 10 people or more, and now 6, as you shared. Currently, you guys won't co-opt it, but that transportation time is often the opportunity for the best conversations with those COIs. Any thoughts on that, Jen or Eric?
Thank you for that feedback. Again, I would say that's really, we think of that as more of a business expense versus a marketing expense. So we will, again, take that feedback and look to, possibly future enhancements to the program. But right now, I would say no, that's not co-op eligible.
Question from Brooke Gibbs. Brooke is asking, when will the sales GD lists be available for reps?
Yes, great question. Those will be available later in November. So there will be an agency news article you'll see coming very soon. But we're targeting, just a couple weeks. So stay tuned.
Melinda Jeffers is asking, personalized calendars. Any chance those can make a comeback or are going to make a comeback?
Shoot. Yeah, we've gotten that question before, believe it or not, and I know many folks really enjoyed those calendars, but they're just not cost effective, and so unfortunately they're not part of the program. We do have calendars, but I understand the personalized ones. Several of you did really enjoy, but we're not able to include that this year.
Okay, question about the warm leads from Chris Tucker. What's the difference between the live transfer leads currently offered and the warm leads that are going to be added?
Okay, great question. Yeah. So the warm transfer, that's when the vendor or the purchase lead aggregator, whether that's All Web Leads, EverQuote, or Quote Wizard, they will actually have someone on the phone. So they will have that lead or that consumer on the phone, and they will reach out to you and do a warm transfer with them on the phone. So that's really the difference between what we offer today. We'll continue to offer those other leads, but that's really just a notification that you get via email and that name and leads and activities where then you follow up. Instead, this is someone on the phone right then and there that they'll transfer to you.
All right, next question coming from Mindy in the Phoenix Metro District. What if your bank account is in the name of the business versus personal for that co-op?
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I don't see anything. It's just a screenshot of that account holder.
Thomas is, first of all, saying great updates, and then he has a question regarding marketing co-op reimbursements. Is there a minimum spend threshold, such as under $100, where proof of purchase is not required?
No, we do not have, that minimum, so we require it, regardless of the amount.
Jason is asking, does co-op have to be submitted by 12/10, or is that the last day of processing?
So the reimbursement for 2025 needs to be submitted. So that's where you go into Free Brand Builder and submit that reimbursement by 4 o'clock Central Time on December 10th. And then we'll process it. So that's just the submission. Hopefully that answers the question.
Dana is asking, are we able to submit screenshots for the rest of our 2025 expenses, or does this only start for 2026?
So glad you asked that. You can go ahead and start that now. We'll go ahead and submit, we'll go ahead and accept the screenshot versus the full bank statement today.
Some rounds of applause for that, Jen. Pete is asking, is there any thought in allowing us to use co-op and make these gift packages through local vendors rather than what's on the site? We have a lot of these businesses insured, and it would be nice to be able to share their products with our COIs. Do you want to address that, Jen?
Yeah, great question. So we're excited to offer the do-it-yourself kit and understand that you have those local vendors, you know, to really work with and add items into that gift basket. But right now, this year, we're not allowing co-op on those items. It's really just the kit itself from the country store, the packaging.
All right, let me make sure that we've got through all of the questions. Looks like we have a couple more that are coming through. Shelley's asking, what is the last day of each month to submit expenses to be reimbursed the following month?
Well, I might have to defer to Eric on the official date.
Yep. So it is the very last day of that month of when you submit it. So we do the processing the last day of the month. So unless it falls over the weekend, that's the only challenge. It's like the 30th is on the 30th or 31st is over the weekend. It would be the Friday before that would be the last time that we could process it to get it into the next month's commission's check for the reimbursement piece.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
Kevin is asking, considering warm leads when the call is transferred to us, how much info from the prospect has already been obtained?
I think it's pretty similar to what you would get from when they submit a form online. So kind of just the basic information like contact information they'll have available, and those should flow through Navigator. So that data should pre-fill for you and Navigator as well.
All right, Kevin, hopefully that answers your question. We have a few minutes left for Jen and Eric, and I know there are a few questions coming in, so let's go to the latest one. Jake is asking, I wanted to clarify the current policy regarding ticket allocation for COI events. If we have 10 tickets available, 4 COIs are attending along with their children, would this now be considered acceptable? Previously, I've had events decline on the basis that not all 10 tickets were used by the COIs, with the understanding that children do not count toward the ticket total. Could you please confirm whether this interpretation has changed, or if there's flexibility in how tickets are counted when COIs do bring their family members?
So I would say children do not count towards that 6. That would stay the same.
Question coming from Rachel. I may have missed this answer as I had to step away for a while. Can the new gift baskets on Country Store be submitted for co-op?
Yes, so those are the gift baskets are co-op eligible. So you would go through kind of the process, the Country Brand Builder and the Country Store today, and co-op would be applied.
All right, so this will be the final question before we move on to the next presenter, and then any that haven't been answered, we'll pass those along to Jen and Eric for follow-up after today's session. So Jen and Eric, Jackie is asking, will the back of a cleared check still be required when it obviously cleared the bank as listed on the bank statement? The front of the check is on the statement. It shows the check number on the bank statement as cleared.
So right now, we still, if you pay by check, we need to see that the actual kind of the cleared check. That's still a requirement. We understand that sometimes you might run into a bind where maybe you can't get to that information. We need to see that the check that's been cleared.
All right, well, thank you for all of the questions. Jen and Eric, thanks for presenting and answering those questions. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to our next set of presenters. We have Aaron Klein and OJ Slavish from our life area, and they have several updates that they will be presenting. So Aaron and OJ, I'll turn it over to you and you can take control of the deck.
Sounds good. Good afternoon to all of you and good morning to some, I would imagine as well. My name is Aaron Klein and I'm going to get us kicked off today. First, I'm going to highlight a few different updates that hopefully you've heard about, but I also want to continue to share some of the details around each of these, just around the importance and of course can you connected, and then I'll kick it over to OJ to talk about a couple of other ones in our shop as well. So first, I want to focus on the accelerated underwriting expansion that we rolled out at the beginning of September. On your screen, we've highlighted what it was to now what it is. So I want to take a moment to share that as well on the age that went from 18 to 50. From 18 to 50 to 18 to 60. And then on the face amount, we actually went from the 100,000 as $1 to 1 million, now up to 2 million. And so while you'll see on the screen, obviously we have a 900 more cases accelerated annually as a result of this change. We are seeing some early success, and I see some hearts and some thumbs up, which is great. Hopefully you are benefiting from that as well. A couple things that are worth noting here is over the past year, we were hovering around 45 to 50% of cases getting the accelerated experience. And so our goal, as I mentioned about the 904, really is to make sure that we are pushing that percentage higher. What we know to be true in the early stages of the success is that more accelerated cases is going to equal more wins for you and your clients. And so I really just want to leave you with, on this particular slide, make sure you're finding those clients within those parameters. We know that it's not always a slam dunk, but based on positioning around these particular requirements, we know that through that process, you can gain 1, faster approval, and 2, stronger placement. We are seeing that in the data from those that have been utilizing AUW, of course, over the years, but also in the early success of these changes as well. And so please make sure you're utilizing that. And if you have questions, feedback along the way, our case management team can help support as well as they do today. I would encourage you to reach out if you do need any help. Another one that I wanted to highlight again, that's not brand new, but is something that you've experienced over the last few months, is our IUL rate cap increase. And so on the left-hand side of your screen, we've got that the max illustrated rate has gone from 5 to 5.3%. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. In the middle of the screen is then our index rate cap. And that was previously 8%, now up to 8.5%. And so I want to give a little bit of a crash course here around when and why you may expect changes such as this in the future. So you can kind of look over to the right-hand side of your screen, and really what we're looking at is market volatility to our index rate caps. So essentially, the higher the volatility and lower interest rate can cause that rate cap to go down and vice versa. We follow the same index crediting principles that do exist in the same single market that every other company looks at for these same types of things. And so a couple of things that I think are worth noting here too is we do monitor that market volatility and interest rates on a monthly basis. That is something you can expect to continue. We aim to keep the rate cap relatively stable. And so I would say, just typically kind of rule of thumb, you can expect that rate cap to be adjusted at most just a few times a year if we're going to do it. And then lastly, I know I mentioned the max illustrated rate. We've had questions around why is that lower than the rate cap? And there really are a couple of reasons that we like to share. One, we must do this by regulation. And two, we really like to make sure that we're thinking about the client experience by setting proper expectations. What I would say here is we do see that sometimes when you are in a competitive event, there are other companies out there showing pretty large cap rates. And it's probably not because they're better at investing or pricing. Usually what we find when we get into these scenarios is that they're willing to hide perhaps some additional fees to compensate for that cap rate. And there are other things to it too, but we do know that this has happened. It will continue. You will find yourself in those situations. If you're scratching your head and needing a little bit more support on that particular one, I would encourage you to contact the financial product support team, a really great resource around understanding all of our financial services products and can help kind of walk you through that too if there are specific questions. And then e-form improvements. And so there's been a couple of things we just rolled out in the past month, actually announced towards the beginning of October. If you saw that, if not, I'll just briefly walk through a couple of the things that you can experience there as well. So we've rolled out 2 new e-forms. The first one is our beneficiary change form, and the second one is a duplicate policy request form. I want to take a moment to highlight why we focused on these both first, and then talk a bit about the experience too. So first and foremost, the beneficiary change form is the exact same form that you use today if you're doing it via PDF or paper, and it will continue to be the same form behind the scenes. The main thing that we've done is taken that, fillable PDF and transition that into an electronic experience for all of our legacy business. And then when you kind of think about the new LifePads and a lot of what you've heard us talking about over the past few years, that is also an electronic experience. And so when you think about going out to begin that request, our goal is that regardless of which product line it is, when it was written, you have a pretty seamless process that can get you started and into the form in an electronic manner. I'm going to talk about that here in just 1 second, but I do want to also highlight the duplicate request form. We get a lot of duplicate policy requests, very many coming from agency directly, but also several that come from our clients. And oftentimes, it's, I can't find this, or I don't know if I got that. And it was just creating a little bit of swirl around, mechanisms where sometimes those are already available to you in the client folder. And so we want to make sure that if your client reaches out and perhaps you're looking for it, for those where it is electronically available, we want to get that in your hands. But if it's not, then we can go through a process, and there's just a few questions essentially in this form to help understand, is it something that actually needs to go downstream to the team to get together, or is it available and we can get to you a bit faster? So the goal there really is to streamline those requests and making sure that so they're in good order and we can get to and through those quickly. I mentioned about how to get to the forms, so I want to close on this one just to talk about that because I do think it's important. When you go out to service a policy today, if you go through the Navigator client folder, no matter when that policy was written, you are going to be presented with the appropriate process. What I mean by that is, if it's legacy business, you will be presented with the electronic e-form experience. And if it's written on the new light path, then you're still going to be presented with an electronic experience. They're just a little bit different based on the behind the scenes. And so the goal was try to streamline that to a similar process as possible, but also take some of the guesswork out of it for you. I know today you go to Passport for certain forms, you might go, through the process when you're in the client folder and routing automatically to an experience. And we really just want to encourage you, instead of Passport, start going directly through that client folder, again, regardless of when that product was written, just based on, a few clicks, and we do have instructions available for this as well, you will be presented with the appropriate electronic experience. The reason this is beneficial is a few reasons, actually. One, electronic experience will enable e-signature for you. We all know that oftentimes today folks want to transact that way. So it makes it a little bit smoother for you in that manner to be able to utilize the current e-sign tools. Next, it really, again, takes some of that guesswork out of it for you. And so no longer are you looking at a massive form and trying to figure out what fields we need. This is conditional formatting. And so based on what you tell us, either certain things will be dropping down or they will not. And once that form is complete based on what you told us, it's going to be available to package up again, either electronically for signatures, or if you can still print and do wet sign as well. And then the last reason that this matters primarily is this is a goal to get time back in your day and time back from a home office standpoint as well. We see oftentimes on these paper forms, we have very, very high write-back rates, and not high write-back rates because we have more questions. It's mainly because things are not in good order. And so by closing that gap, we honestly are hopeful that not only will we get the right information the first time, but then also that will create a little bit more of a smoother process for the experience on the front end. And on the back end, it's going to buy us some time where we're not looking for what's in good order and what's not. And we are, kind of going into that swirl with you of we need this, we need that. What we experienced through the pilots with these new forms is that there were ultimately no write-backs for something being not in good order, unless the way that it came in was, not legible or missing pages. But the functionality of the forms themselves have proven really, really great. And we just want to encourage you to use them that way. If you do have questions around how to get into that process or using those new experiences, again, you can reach out to our life case management team. They're equipped and ready to help you with that as well. I'm going to pass it over to OJ Slavish to talk a little bit about our other improvements.
Yeah, great thing. Since you mentioned the case management team, we'll right into that. The case management team was launched several years ago, part of the Transform Life New Business, to really help with those questions and getting to and through the new business process. But in the last year, we've spent some time to really look at that, expanding the team so that now they handle not only new business, but policy servicing. That means one team, one place to call. That expansion didn't happen overnight. We invested hundreds of hours over the last year to really cross-train the team into both of those functions. So they're able to answer questions, email and phone, on a speed basis. And so when we look at that change, we're resetting our expectations for service level a little bit around 24 hours for return phone calls and emails within 4 hours of response. And really that is to emphasize a more faster, efficient process to reduce the volume of how to with status questions, but really get the calls to be shifted around, reserving those for the more complex asks, the more complex questions that client needs, rep needs. And so we're seeing a real shift in the turnaround times right now. When we looked at the policy servicing aspect, it sometimes was days to get a response from the email inbox or to get a hold of a person. That's accelerated dramatically now that we've turned this on, and both the new business and policy servicing teams are one. And so emails are being answered in hours. Phone calls still may take a little while because of the volume of calls that are coming in. But I would say that the bottom line is it's creating a better experience. And the biggest shift is to use email first. Reach out via email so we can reserve those phone calls over those complex needs or I really need some help and some explanation versus like a status question or a how-to question. And so hopefully we can incorporate that into the business and see some real benefits from there. That's just one thing that's happening with the case management team. I'm going to jump to the next thing here. E-sign issues and improvements. We recently held a workshop around that post-issue process for decision to paid status. Working with our field partners to really understand what's the root cause of any kind of issues that are in that segment. And one of the things that's identified was around getting that SHGR signed and back in so that we can pay the case. And we saw a 33% write back rate, specifically around e-signed cases. The primary reason for that was missing documents or signatures, unchecked boxes on the form itself. And so what we really did is take a step back on what does the e-sign platform offer, and how do we take some of that administration work, that setup work out of your plate and put it into the technology. So we launched earlier this month a layout that when you go in and upload that SHGR, you'll be able to click a couple of buttons and it will put all of the signature boxes into the right places on that form. So when you send it out for signature and it comes back, it's all there, like nothing gets missed. Again, it comes back down to getting it in good order the first time speeds the process. And anecdotally, I'll say I hear often sometimes it could take 7 to 10 days to pay a case. And when I look into those situations, it really revolves around this. I submitted it once, it was missing something, we had to do it again. And so we want to drive down that write back rate. And I can tell you, from the pilot that started 2 months ago to this month of it being live for everybody, the write back rate has already started to drop by 7%. So I would highly encourage everyone to take a minute to either review yourself or review it with your staff. There is a click to know article we all love, and a video that shows exactly how to do this step by step. It takes 4 minutes to watch it in action and set it up versus a 10-minute to 20-minute setup and set it on your. So definitely will help you in your business and pay cases faster. Cut out that extra time by getting it in good order the first time. And lastly, another thing that came out of this workshop and what we heard loud and clear from our friends in the field was the SHGR, first of all, is never going to be the end-all be-all solution for policy delivery. It is temporary. We're going to get to a better solution in the future where we will probably handle policy delivery within the home office and take that work out of your hands as well. But until then, a statement of health within that form doesn't apply to some policy types. So when you look at conversions and GIO options, those are guaranteed issue products. There is no statement of health required. In the past, we've told you just to not fill that part of the form out, but it did cause some confusion with the clients of whether that, what's this asking here? Why am I being asked this? And so we created a separate form where policy delivery doesn't have a statement of health in it, just for GIOs versions. And started earlier this month, rolling those out with those policy issues. So you should see this form within the contract itself, eligible to sign this and have it returned to be able to pay the case. Unfortunately, with the technology asked, in order to get this in fast versus slow, SHGR and the delivery receipt both show up within the contract for these policy types. One or the other is fine. If you send both, that's fine. Don't need it, but we'll accept either one just in case until we get to the point where it's just one that shows up in the contract. And that's what we have for you, the life company, right?
All right, so OJ, Aaron, thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions in the chat. I'll start with Jackie's comment to you, OJ. That's great in regards to the one team, one call. So she is saying thank you for that. We do have a question from Jason. He is asking, should we discontinue using the messages through the Navigator pending screen?
I might have to ask a question here, but OJ, my thought is perhaps is Jason looking for this in lieu, like in using case management in lieu of that?
Sounds like it. So if it pertains to a particular policy in the new business, it is still very good to send through the Navigator screens, because then that comment is specifically attached to that policy, and the processing team, they're working those faster than the case management teams.
Thank you, OJ. All right, I'm going to give it just another moment to see if we have any additional questions that are being published. We do have one asking to clarify, we need only the SHDR or delivery receipt, not both, correct?
Yeah, let me make sure perfectly clear on this one. So standard issue policies will only have the SHGR. You absolutely must have it for that. For GIOs and conversions specifically, it will contain both. We just need one. The delivery receipt is just fine for those, but if you accidentally send the other, that's fine. We'll accept it.
Perfect. Okay, those are all the questions that we have for OJ and Aaron. So if you want to give them a round of applause, great updates, great enhancements to make our reps' lives and clients' process a lot easier. So thanks, Aaron. Thank you, OJ. Continue moving along. We are going to turn it over to Christine Scabilia from Agency Incentive Programs, who has some updates around our sales support program in 2026. Hi, Christine.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Okay, I think I've got control here. So thrilled to be part of this very first Agency Live event. So thank you all for joining. I'm going to give you an update on the sales support program. I'll be starting with just a really quick overview of what the program is. I know we have some reps that are not as familiar with it or are newer to the country. And then I'll give some updates as to what's coming into 2026. So in terms of the program, just a quick overview here. The program was rolled out a few years ago in 2024, so it's still fairly new, and it really packages together all the tools and resources and support to aid in your growth and acquisition and business operations, so hiring staff, technology, with the benefits that build as you move up in placement. The support is aligned with your assessment of placement on the PC grid in the fourth quarter. So that's that direct tie into the sales compensation program, and it's available on an annual basis. So we'll be announcing your placement for the 2026 program in mid-January, and then it will be available through year end. The best place to find everything you need to know, of course, is SharePoint. We love those. So you can navigate on agency news under agency resources, sales compensation, and there's a direct link there to the sales support program SharePoint. There you'll find everything you need to know in terms of placement support, and a link to reporting, which is very important because that tells you where you're placing in the program. We will be updating the SharePoint here early next month with the information for the 2026 program. Okay, so the agency incentive program, which is the team I am a part of, we are the administrator of this program. And we work annually with the operational areas to bring forward their offerings and support. We don't have a lot of support changes going into next year, so that's really what I'm not going to be covering. But I am going to give you some updates more on the administrative side. In terms of program placement opportunities, so this is a new opportunity that I'll be going over that has not been part of the program in the past. We have some updates on the support tiers. So a couple of things are happening there. We will be eliminating the enhanced tier. So today there are 4 tiers and we're going down to 3. With that, we'll be further developing our base tier and our base support. And then we will also be refreshing the support tier needs. So that's really what I'll be going over with you this afternoon. And as I mentioned, in terms of support offerings and benefits, again, that is all out in the sales support SharePoint. So I would recommend you go out and check those out there. And again, you will see those when we do our updates for 2026 as well. So in terms of the support tiers, as I mentioned, today we have 4. These should hopefully sound familiar to you: Base, Enhanced, Prestige, and Prestige Plus Master. Going into next year, we are rebranding those. And so we will have Essential, Elite, Premier. Essential is really our foundational support that is for all reps and also those that are new and have not had a placement period. So you will place an Essential. Those that place an Elite, that is formally Prestige. And so that again is based on your grid placement, your best month of Q4 on the PC grid, and you have all of the support available to you with an Essential, and then that additional support that's part of Elite. And then Premier, which is our formerly Prestige Plus Master. This is the tier that is a little bit different in that you have to place on the PC grid in that kind of gold box, which is in the lower right-hand side. But you also have to earn the profitability bonus in March. So if you don't earn the profitability bonus, or you're not eligible for the profitability bonus yet, you will remain in Elite. Those that place in Premier, they have their additional benefits added in early March, and those are available then for a full year. And that is also our master status recognition as well. In terms of the placement and timing, we are in Q4, so this is the placement period. So really encourage you to end the year strong and get your best month of placement here for your benefits going into next year. Just a quick plug, don't forget about what's going on in 2025 here as well. So your benefits for 25 are good through the end of the year. So again, check those out in the sales support SharePoint if you're not sure exactly what all you have available to you. And then in January is when our new 2026 program actually begins. And so you will receive an email from the agency incentive program mailbox, and that will give you your support tier as well as the benefits associated with that. And as I mentioned, in March is when we have kind of our last piece is those reps that are placed within this little box down here in our Premier eligible. If you receive the profitability bonus, you'll receive those additional benefits in March again for an entire year, and also our master status recognition. So this is very similar to what we have done in the program in the last couple of years. Not a lot of changes there other than the consolidation of those tiers. And so this is really what's new, and this is what I want to focus on here, is the program placement improvement opportunities. So we did have some feedback from you guys in the fall BOA survey, as well as just some feedback when we sent out placements earlier this year of, hey, maybe I didn't have a great fourth quarter, or I'm having some challenges in the PC space. And so I didn't place exactly where I'm used to placing or want to place. And so what can I do to earn some, particularly around the co-op dollars, what can I do throughout the year to earn the additional dollars? Prior to this coming year, we did not have an avenue for reps to change their program placement. And so going into next year, those reps who place an Essential in January will have the opportunity to improve their placement by looking at their best month on the PC grid in June or July 2026, and and then you'll receive some additional support mid-August through the end of the year. So our lowest core going into 2026 in terms of marketing funds available will be $7,500. So that is a change from the $5,000 that was available this year and the previous year. So those reps that do have a program in place improvement will receive an additional $2,500 then in August through the end of the year. Also some priority processing of the agency forms, and that is the background check request and the growth metric rep program inquiry form, and also some additional advanced planning tool access for those financial advisors that meet that additional qualifying factor. So that is a really great new opportunity that is part of the program going into 2026. So make sure that you are aware of that, especially if you place in Essential. And then finally, really what's next? As I mentioned, going into next month, that is when we will have our SharePoint content updated. So watch agency news, it will direct you out there. Again, you can see all of the tier information, the supports and benefits. And then most importantly, the reporting dashboard will be out there. So you can see where you placed through October. Of course, you have the November and December if you'd like to try to improve your placement. But that you'll definitely want to check this so you're aware of where you are heading into the last couple months of the year. And then in December is again the last month for the 2026 placement. That is when your 2025 benefits will run out with the exception of again of those Prestige Plus Master, which continue until end of February, beginning of March. And then in mid-January is when you will get that email again from the Agency Incentive Program mailbox with your placement as well as specifics around your benefits and support. So Ryan, that is all I have for you guys today. If there's any questions, please let me know.
All right, great information, Christine. We do have a couple questions that are coming in. First one coming in from Jason. And Jason is asking, is the PIF portion of the grid based on calendar or rolling 12?
That's your rolling 12. So it's the same as your compensation.
Thank you. Andrea has a question. And we look at the updates for 2026, specifically in the future. Any consideration for expanding the support tiers to include All-American and not just be PC driven for the last 3 months of the year?
If we're talking about maybe considering if you qualify for All-American, we have not. Again, we're aligning it with the sales comp program. It is not all PC driven, like the other access on the grid as well. So we have talked about some different placement options, looked at a few going into this year, and may look at it more as we go into 2027.
Thanks, Christine. And then last question and kind of a kudos from Jason. What level do I need to be to get the IT support? This has been huge.
So that will be our premier support. So if we're talking about the priority phone line, that is for those reps who earn our premier tier.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate it.
See ya.
All right, our last presenter for our closing comments, we have Katie Lowersbach, the manager of Advanced Markets. She's here to provide some updates with the money planning tool and the financial advisor program. Hi, Katie.
Hey Ryan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, let's move this forward. Okay, so like Ryan said, as manager of Advanced Markets representing investment services, and just a reminder slash note, investment services not only supports the financial advisors on the call, but also our insurance agents with the help of life sales, like Erin mentioned in hers. My updates today are mostly going to be geared towards the financial advisors on the call, and also any other aspiring financial advisors as we talk about the FA program. So first, the FA program. So let's get into this. So FA production requirements, this blue chart here is the current status of what the financial advisor production requirements are. And as a reminder, you either have to have over 8 million or you have to have this required growth that's shown in the chart. The two things that are new for 2026 are one, this red box, the removal of the 20% commission tier. So you may or may not have known this year, but we're coming up on the third year. And with that, you would have been gone all the way from whatever tier you were in the grid down to 20%. We're pausing that, so you will not get penalized if you are not meeting these required growth for that 20% commission tier penalty. The other thing that's not specifically highlighted here, but the training requirement. So currently they're like 30 to 40 hours approximately if you're not meeting. And our target is to reduce those down to 4 hours. We really just want you guys to be in the field doing what you do best and not having that extensive hours. There's still gonna be training, just not as many hours as there are currently. So those are the major updates for the FA production requirements. And then we'll get into the e-money planning tool changes. And it's perfect that I went after Christine because my updates align with the sales support program. So today, e-money, our planning tool, is provided to all financial advisors. And that's great because we have high utilization for our top financial advisors. The problem with this is that we have low utilization for our low producers. So with some of the changes, not only did we renegotiate pricing on our e-money contract, but we really want to provide support for those really in the financial advisor space. So we're going to have a transition period from November 16th to March 2026. And this is so we can align the sign up of e-money with the sales support program that Christine just went over. So we will have this transition period where we discontinue access for non-users. Non-users is if you have not logged in at least once per month in the last 12 months. And then the other big date right now is this month, which ends at the end of this week, is our open enrollment to choose to upgrade from the standard, the middle license tier during the transition period. We'll get into the different tiers on the next in the next couple slides. Future state, we're going from everyone has access to a subscription-based model for financial advisors. And again, we want to reward those that are doing well. So in addition to the sales support program qualifications, we're also going to add a additional qualification that Christine kind of hinted at. So let's get into what that means for you. So there's a lot on this slide, but I just want to highlight the difference. The additional qualification that Christine hinted at is you'll fall into one of these three categories based on what she covered. But the additional qualification is those who do at least $1 million of investment services new business will receive e-money planning tool at some level for free. So again, I know some of the comments were it's PC and life oriented, but we're adding this additional thing to reward those financial advisors in our space. There's going to be different costs associated with either you're free or if you want to upgrade to the different licenses. And on the next slide, I'll get into the differences between the tiers because there's some that you're used to hearing about, but we have some newer tiers as well. So the plus license, that middle tier license is what everyone gets for free current state. So it has basic needs analysis and foundational planning. Some of our financial advisors have paid to upgrade to Premier, which is called advanced planning right now. And that will still be an option, as well as being a free thing that some may qualify for. The thing that's new that we got with our negotiations with e-money is a core license. And we're really excited about this one because it makes planning more approachable. We really just want to offer planning to as many clients as possible. And this lower level that some may qualify for will make it easier to use, client friendly with all of these. And then the good thing is that no matter which planning tool license level you qualify for, your client will qualify for the portal, which has been a big thing that e-money has spent a lot of time and effort on, and clients really enjoy it. All right, and then if you are not sure if you're active in the planning tool, this is something that only your district leader has access to. And as far as the dashboards that show you, I've done $1 million to get through planning tool, or how many logins you've done. The other thing is the form to request either an upgraded version or opt in if you don't get a free version for planning tool. If you open that form, it'll tell you these stats on yourself. So either contact your district leader if they have access, or open the form filling your name, and it'll give you your stats for you, so you can make a decision by the end of the week. And then lastly, I just wanted to remind you over some of the important dates. So October, like I said, this is the open enrollment. The October 1st is a big thing to call out for advanced planning users, the people that are currently upgrading to advanced planning. You need to fill out a form no matter what. Because of our negotiations with eMoney, we were able to negotiate a lower cost. So you have to opt into that lower cost sometime this month, even if you want to keep your current advanced planning. And then November 16th, all the non-active users will lose planning to access. One thing to note is even if you decide to not have eMoney in the transition period or you take a year off, your clients will still have access to their plan and their portal, and all of those orphaned accounts will be assigned to my team in advanced markets. So don't worry about your clients when making this decision. That will still remain active for them. And then some of these dates are actually what Christine told you about with the sales support model. And then the big thing specifically for planning tools, we'll have another open enrollment in March once you know your information about sales support. So you can make a decision on what level of planning tool you either want to opt into or upgrade. And then with that, Ryan, that will be the last.
All right, thank you, Katie. We have time for one question. It is coming from John in regards to the required growth for the 1 million. Is that for the prior year or is that rolling 12?
It's gonna be the prior year, so we're gonna end it at the end, like so the contest year basically.
Thank you for those updates, Katie. Appreciate it.
That's fine. Appreciate it.
We are going to conclude here with some closing comments from Tim Harris. So Tim, if you want to go ahead and come on, we'll end with your closing remarks before we turn it over to tell them what the next steps are.
That's good, Ryan. Hey, everyone. I just wanted to jump on for a few minutes and just say thanks for attending this first, hopefully of many Rep conferences. Hope you enjoyed the information. Hope it meant a lot to you and your business to continue to go forward. I wish I could speak to you guys for about 3 hours right now. But there is a video that I'll be making here the 1st of November that'll kind of give some scenarios of what we're thinking in the home office outside of strategy for all of you and your businesses in the coming year and years ahead. So be on the lookout for that. We know it's been an up and down year for 2025. We empathize with that. We've got some great strategies coming forward to help you be successful and continue to drive results where you want to go in your business. So be on the lookout for all the videos coming your way. I want you to know how much you're all appreciated and the hard work you do for clients every single day is not going unnoticed. And we just thank you for it. Thank you to all the home office presenters who also presented today, making this first conference a difference maker for our field partners. So thanks everyone, and Ryan, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Tim. We have a couple of minutes before we end our session here, and I just want to go over some next steps. You all just received a tremendous amount of information. So what do you do with all this information? Or maybe you didn't catch everything. Maybe you weren't paying full attention to full 90 minutes. Where do you go? Well, first I want to say, if you asked a question in the Q&A and we ran out of time, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have that process where the presenter will follow up with you on that unanswered question. We also have a dedicated page for this e-conference, and it is out on Level Up. So if you go to the Level Up homepage, as you can see right here, you hover over the development resources there at the top. 2 bullet points down under 4 reps, we have the Agency Live real-time updates conference page. Click on that, and it's going to bring you right here to this page. 2 things I want to point out. For one, top right-hand side, and I'll mention this at the very beginning. This is where we are going to have links for you and your team members to enroll in the next available e-conference. So currently, we have enrollment open for our November Agency Live session, which is actually going to take place after Thanksgiving. on December 1st. So when you get a chance, talk to your teammates about this, go out there and enroll. We hope to see as many on that conference as we had today. The second thing that I want to point out on this page is this is where we are going to house the recording from this session. The best way to access that recording is going to be to click that button that says open recording in a new window. Now, what's great about this recording that we're going to have out there, and we'll have it out in the next 24 to 48 hours, but what's great is we are going to be able to divide it and chunk it out so you don't have to sit through the entire thing if you just want to go to one spot on the agenda. You are going to receive an email on Thursday, October 30th. That email is going to be telling you about the agency news story that's going to be out there. And within that agency news story, we will also have this agenda. And next to each bullet point on the agenda, we'll have the exact time that it's going to be in the video. So if you wanted to refresh on the updates that Aaron and OJ provided from the life area, you can just fast forward directly to that portion of the video. So trying to make it as easy for you. All right, well, that concludes our session for today. I wanted to say thank you to all of our presenters. I also want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day. We appreciate you all and hope to see you on the next one, December 1st. Thank you, everyone.